it's finally time for some more Let's Go Trophy Hunting here in the Hunter Classic, and I really want to try to bring back the main point of this series with this particular hunt and hopefully going forward. So when we initially started Season 3 of Let's Go Trophy Hunting, the goal was to essentially stumble into a 200 scoring whitetail. My idea being, typically when you get trophy animals in the Hunter, you end up finding them on hunts when you're not actually targeting them. We're now after a 400 scoring Roosevelt elk, but I think too often in this series lately, we've focused on elk. So today, we're going to be going all over Redfeather Falls, and we're going to see what we can get. And literally, the very first animal of this hunt kind of demonstrates what I was hoping to see today. We've got a 155 to 180 whitetail, basically in an area that we just would not have passed through if we specifically focused on elk. So we're going to try to take this guy. By the way, introducing the Flinter bow to the loadouts for Let's Go Trophy Hunting. You can't, at least at the moment that I could find, place the creator weapons in the trophy lodges, but I can only assume we're going to be able to at some point. Was that elk sleeping there? He was not impressive at all. But I hadn't seen that, and it's too early, I think, for them to sleep. We had another pretty okay buck, up to 175. It's almost, he's kind of slowing down. We have the 308 carbon today. If he's in sight, because I don't know if he stopped over there since we hadn't loaded it, we might go ahead and try to get him as well. I don't see where he slowed up. We'll probably mark that and sneak over there, because he's not going to be far from where we can see right now at the wood line. What an absolutely chaotic start. Anyway, we had the Parker Python in this series before, so essentially we'll be replacing the Flinter version of the Parker with the old Parker in the Trophy Lodge. As for our first buck, 160 score, and we might even have a better one. I couldn't tell how big that was, and go figure, 2 nice bucks. We're coming in at this stand that, like I said, we just would not have gone to if we took the approach we've been taking for really longer than we should have been. I almost didn't even see him. He's standing right there, about 150 meters out, and for the sake of saving time, we'll go ahead and try to make that shot with the 308. Boy, is he perfectly blended in. In that morning mist, that's going to drop him, and I don't know when it became possible to equip this scope on the Carbon 308. I know it's not always been a thing, but it makes the 308 so much better. They buffed the caliber quite some time ago, and now it's really one of the better calibers in the game. Add that scope onto there. It's a great choice, and I don't know how long it's been a thing, but we're going to make use of it today. And as for this guy, I do think he's going to outscore that last one. He's an 8x8. And I think a clean 8x8 ended up with a spy shot and a 167 score, so we are quickly moving in the right direction. As for taxidermying them, I want to say we only have one whitetail displayed in the Trophy Lodge now. We shot a couple of nice mule deer. We have a albino mule deer doe as well, so we'd have to top 178 for that. But even still, a couple of decent bucks just getting started here. We'll take that any day. So as we start to make our way into moose territory, that is one thing I'd really like to improve in our lodge today. Obviously, any improvement would be a good thing, but I want to say we have like a 191. We also have something else sneaking in from somewhere. I definitely heard footsteps. Probably just going to sit here and wait. I think it's down to our left. We're actually pretty much coming in directly behind our buck. And I guess there's another doe down there. Let's try to get this. And maybe if the other one's not in the way, we'll kind of just get around that, because it sounded like it was down there a bit. But already, 4 whitetail down, 3 bucks. And we haven't even hardly gotten into the better part of the map for whitetail. I'm really hoping we can find some other big ones too, but our doe ended up with lung and liver. I think the buck was probably a similar shot. And this guy's not quite the quality of the last couple that we shot, but we'll still take that, get it out of the way so we don't have tracks or calls to follow later. Double lunged him. That's going to be a 117 score, and we'll try to kind of sneak our way around that doe. Once we get down into here, we should start to run into some moose, and I think, you know, a lot of times on hunts like these, we do tend to ignore the moose because we've been after whitetail and elk for so long. Today, if we get a bull moose call, we'll be bringing it in. And naturally, in that decision to pretty much call in any bull moose that calls today, we've kind of ended up in this situation. For one, with a way bigger bull coming in behind us, let's go for that instead. And make sure we're not going to get charged, because both of those were pretty close. I think we're going to escape that. And that should bring him down pretty quickly. But the main thing was, we've actually got a max weight estimate whitetail track here, and of course we have to follow that. Anytime we get 85 to 100, we always got to follow it. We probably could already have it down, but it took so long for those moose to come in, and they just so happened to arrive at the same time. He's now like 40 minutes in front of us. That's the other one. I thought I was calling him one from that angle. He's a little smaller. And he's just gonna take a nap, I guess? Maybe we can just scoot over there and get him then. And I think in this case, we're pretty much gonna have to try for a headshot. The way that hill is, I don't think going for vitals is gonna make a lot of sense. So we'll try to get this in the right spot here. That's gonna insta-kill him. So we have one to go and track quickly, which I imagine if we had actually watched where he went, he probably dropped in sight. And then we're gonna go back and get on the whitetail track still. But not bad. You can see where the arrow actually went like back into the shoulder a little bit. Got the lung even. And we did miss the brain. It was neck bone. I guess I'd rather be lucky than good. That could have been a lot worse. And actually there is our other bull laying right over there. And he might just crack 150. He could be right in that area. Lung over stomach too. Interesting shot. 143 for him. And then we gotta get figured out with this buck that's potentially almost an hour ahead of us now. We're in a weird spot. He almost definitely had to go like across here. I think we're better off just following him regularly, but kind of fast traveling out ahead seems like an option. You know, I really do have every intention of finding our way into elk territory eventually today, but we just spent probably 10 minutes calling in this buck, which of course is not the one that we've been tracking, but we had a grunt, and I figured we'd just bring it in, and it just took a long time to actually get here, and yet again, the one that we're actually after is just gaining ground and gaining ground, so probably getting close to 60 plus minutes, and hopefully after we claim this one, we can just get on that trail, and maybe if we get lucky, he'll end up grunting and making it easy on us. But this guy, gonna be our smallest buck thus far, 59.6 score, and again, at least we kind of got him out of the way for later in the hunt. Well, the good news is, the buck we've been tracking is actually pretty solid. I think he might be an 8x8. I can't quite spot that, and naturally he's stuck, or he'd be able to come right into bow range. He's not a big 8x8 by any stretch, but 155 to 180, at least it's not like a 120s buck. So what we're gonna do is try to get the range on that right around 40, and the only reason we're not gonna take him with a gun is there is another buck that just grunted up to our right. So ideally, we drop this guy and can get the other buck. That's gonna be an awkward shot to make. No idea where that hit. It felt like it dropped in like above his shoulders. It might be a lung, and that's only going to extend this a little bit longer. I'll never complain about a hunt that we're getting a bunch of buck encounters, whether we're hunting for whitetail or not, because we have spent many hours hearing doe after doe after doe, but I did not intend to be an hour and a half plus into this hunt, and not even step foot into elk territory really. So once we get this all taken care of, I think rather than hunting around like I had wanted to, we are just going to fast travel, because while the point is to kind of hunt for other things and hope to stumble into a 400 elk, we're not going to do that if we're nowhere near where the elk are. So perhaps one last bit of trolling on the part of whitetail keeping us from targeting elk today, but that other buck was a complete no-show. I don't know if he fell asleep somewhere, got stuck, but he didn't show up, and I really do want to get over there and get after elk. So this guy, who is still sliding down the hill, I think gonna be our best buck of the hunt. Lung and intestine, considering he was basically stuck. 175, not too bad. We're gonna have to look at that, because I can't remember exactly what we have in the lodge at the moment. There's a chance that could be better than something, but I almost want to say we replaced a 177 with the 178 that's in there now, so I guess we could just kind of go back to that. And I guess, all things considered, not our worst trophy shot, but just where he ended up on the side of this hill like this, it was really tough to get any kind of decent photo. So I'm going with that, and I think we're going to fast travel directly to elk territory, and the question is, where do we want to go? An hour and a half plus in the hunt, they could be a lot of places by now, so maybe kind of go into the center of sort of the eastern half of the map might be a good move. I would love to get a bugle, but they do travel in mixed herds now. Could have cows and bulls, so that could be just as good. Kind of a weird herd. We have 3 cow elk coming in and nothing else, but this is an opportunity to maybe use the 45 Colt. We do try to, in this series, use every weapon in our loadout, and because this is something that if we mess it up, it's not going to be a big deal, we're going to go with that. Not because it would be likely to have our shot not hit the mark at that range, but because the 45 Colt is not great, so that'll probably be the only kill we get with it today, unless maybe we have another group come really close like that. But at least we got to fire it. Actually, I think I want to get to this tower for sure, but maybe we'll do like a loop around just to cover a little more ground. Well, he's certainly no 400, but an hour and 57 minutes into this hunt, we finally have our first bull elk. I mean, I guess technically we had that really tiny bull that took off when we shot the 2 big bucks at the start of the hunt, but this is the first one we're actually going to take out, and he might just top 200. 216 in fact, so I guess at least it could have been a much worse bull, but hopefully we have enough time to maybe encounter 1 or 2 more. You know, if we were trying to hunt cow elk today, we'd be doing pretty good for the most part. I've kind of just ignored them, but I'm not sure if this is in a herd or if maybe there were just some other tracks around, but I want to get that down and just slowly scoot up here. We're getting close to the tower I wanted to make it to today, so I definitely don't want to send, even if it's 4 more cow elk, just all running that way. And what I don't hear are any additional footsteps, so I'm thinking she was by herself. Either way, long liver, so we lucked out in not spooking her, and we'll just keep on sneaking up this way. We'll go at least 100, maybe 200 meters crouching in case there are others around, and then we'll try to get down to that tower. And I think maybe this is the reasoning for all those extra tracks. Now, I'm only seeing 1 cow sitting here. I bet when we shoot there's going to be more coming out of there, but we're sort of in this awkward spot, and in this awkward timing where we don't have time to just crawl around and see. Nothing came out of there though. Like, there are all kinds of tracks around, there's just, I don't know, maybe they're spread out? But again, just gonna keep on sneaking around here until we eventually get to a point where it's fairly safe to get down to the tower without just spooking everything. As you guys probably know by now, the Tuesday videos I almost always record prior to the Monday streams, so we're on a bit of a time constraint as far as getting that stream going on time. And that's why I want to try to get down to that tower, because I at least want to get to there. That's typically a good spot, especially later in hunts. And you know, because of our time constraint, this may be our last kill of the hunt. Unfortunately, another pretty average bull elk, but literally the stream is supposed to start in 10 minutes, so we're gonna have to take that with the 308. And sadly, no additions to the trophy lodge today. Now, last time this happened, we ended up streaming basically kind of targeting the same thing. So we hunted 4 mule deer over on Timberwolf Trails, ended up not finding any special mule deer, and then streamed it on Wednesday, and we shot the 238 and 214 that are in our lodge. So maybe that'll be the approach. If you didn't know, I stream the Hunter Classic pretty much every Wednesday night at 7:30 p.m. over on Twitch, and we'll be continuing that this week. And I think that's what we'll do. We'll really go after elk and see if we can maybe find a better one than we got today. It was still nice. I mean, we had 3 whitetail bucks over 160, ended up getting a couple bull moose, still found some bull elk, and had we not spent so much time after whitetail, maybe it would have worked out. But like I said, the entire point of this series is to kind of be on these maps where we can maybe encounter the goal species without necessarily targeting them, because it always feels like when you do find those trophies, it's when you're doing something else. However, I think that is going to do it for this video. So as always, thank you guys for watching. Hope to see you in the stream on Wednesday, and I'll see you next time.